free publicly available leaked password databases online to essentially try and find or identify whether the emails, the email addresses we've identified in the previous video have essentially suffered from a potential data breach on a website that the owner of the email had registered on. And the objective here, as I mentioned in the previous video, is to essentially try and find whether the owner of the email address has, as I said, experienced a data breach, and if so, we'll actually obtain that password that was leaked during the data breach, and we can then try and utilize that password to perform a password spray attack. Now, we're not going to be doing that in this video because we're still in the passive information gathering phase of this course. So let's get started. Again, I'm just going to be using my Kali Linux VM, so I'm just going to switch over really quickly. All right, so I'm back on my Kali Linux VM, and the site that I'm going to be utilizing for this demonstration is a very popular site called haveibeenpwned.com, or simply put, Have I Been Pwned. Now, Have I Been Pwned is a really cool site because it essentially aggregates whatever data breach happens in the world on some of the most popular websites on the in the world, like Facebook, Google. Really, any website that has a data breach, these guys, more specifically Troy Hunt, the individual that set up this website, aggregates that database, and allows users, anyone in the world, to essentially check and see whether their email address or phone number has been leaked in a data breach, which is very common. And one of the most important things that you need to know is most users don't really know if their accounts or their email has been leaked, or the email and password has been leaked as part of a data breach. Now, why am I referring you to this? You might be saying, well, do I check my own emails? Well, you can do that. In fact, I do recommend that you do that, because you might find that your email and password has been leaked as part of a data breach on a site that you had registered on, and you may still be using that password. And the worst part about it is attackers have access to this just like anyone else. Now, in the context of a penetration tester, in the previous video, we took a look at how to enumerate or how to harvest email addresses, right? Using publicly available, resources or databases. If we were targeting an organization and we found employee email addresses, we could essentially, put them in here. And if they were leaked as, within or as part of a data breach, and, we were able to obtain a password, then we could, use that password and perform a password spray attack and try and log into Google with that same email and password, try and log into Facebook, Instagram, you get the idea. It's really dangerous. So again, I can just put in my own email here. By the way, please don't send me any emails. I probably won't respond to them on this email, but you can see that no pawnage has been found, which means, all the sites that I've registered on with this email have not experienced a data breach, and as a result, my passwords have not been leaked. Now, if we entered, any other email address, maybe pippa@zonetransfer.me, I doubt that has been part of any data breach. Let's just try and see that. Zonetransfer.me. There we are. So you can see that works out just fine. And again, all you need to do is put in the employee's email address here. And most likely, if they've been using it for a long time, they might have been part of a data breach. And of course, that will all tie into what sites they registered on. At the bottom here, you can see it has a summary of the largest breaches. And of course, you can see we have Facebook accounts, etc. So you can click on that there. That'll give you more information regarding that particular breach. So in April 2021, a large data set of over 500 million Facebook users was made freely available for download, encompassing approximately 20% of Facebook subscribers. So, the likelihood of an individual, having the email and password leaked as part of a data breach is very common, unless your email is really new. Like for some of my older emails, they have been part of a breach. And luckily for me, I do regularly check the site just to make sure that I'm not using any of those passwords that were part of the breach. So I just wanted to share this resource with you. As I said, this will tie into the previous video. If you were able to identify employee emails for the target site that you're targeting, then this would be a great next step. I would definitely recommend taking a look at this. Not a lot of penetration testers do this, but some of the experienced ones do it. So definitely do check this out. Now, have I been pwned the only place you can get this information? No, but again, the great thing about this site is you don't need to sign up. They have an API, and of course, I would recommend donating to this site because they really are doing the public a great service. And as a penetration tester, they're also doing us a service because they allow us to identify whether employees have been lax with their password security or are not in compliance with the company's password security policy. And as we already know, it's a standard tendency for individuals, just normal people, to reuse passwords, and that's really not a fault of their own. Once they have a password, they tend to reuse it. And if they have reused a password that was part of a data breach on all of the sites that they use, then all of those sites are in essence compromised, because all it takes is for one hacker or attacker to target you, get your email, they go to haveibeenpwned.com, get that password, and then try and log into all of the sites you typically have registered on. So do take a look at Have I Been Pwned. As I said, I can't really showcase anything here because that would be a breach of ethics, because if there was a password that was leaked here, then that would not be a good thing. So this was more of an informational video where I wanted to showcase this really, really important resource. With that being said, that's going to conclude the practical demonstration side of this.